appreciate you guys for being here. Again, my name is Principal Brown, the principal of Winters Mill High School. I have with me the PittPass crew. We are going to be talking to them today about some of their unique projects that they have going on within communities that look like us for Black and Brown people. We also have with us our moderator, Timothy Davis, who is a senior here at Winters Mill High School. Appreciate you, Tim, coming through and doing this, and appreciate all of you gentlemen for taking your time out today. Timothy, I will allow you, but before we get started, I will let you guys individually just introduce yourselves. Tell me a little bit about yourselves and, kind of what brought you guys together. So we'll start out there. And then, Timothy, you can take it away.
Okay. I'll go. Will Pass and Tim, again, thanks for being a moderator today, man. We appreciate your time. So, my name is Will Pass. I am the pass of PittPass Development Group. The three of us went to Temple University together. We played football together, blood, sweat, tears, Who Deck workouts, all that good stuff. And we got back together here, and probably in the last few years with Randy, maybe in the last 5 years. But Chris and I have been going strong for about 12 years now. Once we reconnected, I bring to the table the finance side of the house, finance, and probably relationship building. I would say would be my two key assets to this group. I like to call us like the new age Voltron. It's just three of us. Normally it's five, but three make up five in this dynamic. Because you don't really see this sort of setup in the development world, and I don't want to ruin it for these two so they can tell about themselves. But a lot of times you get one piece and not the other. You never have a piece where it's all three of the guys coming together collectively. So I think collectively together we're going to do some fantastic things, and we're already off to a great start. I'm going to shut up now so they can introduce themselves.
I can go next. Hi, Timothy. I'm Chris Pitt. As Will say, we have known each other for a long, long time. So it's been a really good opportunity for us to, really come together, and took a lot of thought. Like I said, we've known each other since we was, in college. And you're going to college soon. It's a very important time in your life. So I hope you have fun if you don't go, or if you go to the Army, I believe, or sign up to the service. But whatever you do, just do it with passion, man. And that's really the trick to this world. I've been in real estate for 20 years in one way or another. I'm sure we'll talk more about that as we go on through this. But just want to say hello and thank you for your time as well. And it's proud to see you doing the things that you're doing. So that's awesome.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm Randy Washington. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time and having us today. And I round things off with the construction side of the house. So I am the president of LSN Contractors, and we've come together with PittPass, and we're just tackling some of the things that, as Will was mentioning, you see a lot of groups that come together, but they're missing something. So we put all the different pieces together, and we literally have all capacity in-house to take on things from the smallest project to some of the larger projects. We've done things like renovations at Temple University and different higher education facilities. We've done things like the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino down in Atlantic City. We've done Camden Triad office building. So we have a wide range of projects that we get into, and we're just looking to, come together as a collective and keep building on that.
Okay, well, taking notice, my name is Timothy David. Very much appreciate you guys' time. And before we even get into it, the fact you guys had the time to come to the table and talk to me regarding this, even though I am young, in a high school basis, it's lovely. Came in contact with Mr. Brown from my freshman year, started with poetry, started breaking down different things in community, mostly dealing with literature and policies that surround teaching. So, an honor to even speak with you guys. Love to conditionally go over this interview.
Awesome.
Hey Tim, he won't tell you, but Mike's a phenomenal dude, man. You got a good mentor over there, so been knowing him for a long time too. Don't let him fool you. I don't know what he tells you. He's a good dude, man.
Yeah, push over sometimes, but Yeah, well, the first question, if I may ask, so you guys spoke a little bit of your backgrounds and having to do with the PittPass Development Group. Overall, what is your mission? And towards that, how long has it been taken to this mission to come into operation?
Who want to take that?
I'll go. So our mission is to basically impact communities, as we described earlier, that primarily look like us. I mean, not always, but that's our main focus. We want to become developers of choice in various cities. Right now we're working in Wilmington, Delaware, for an example. We're looking to facilitate some sources in Philadelphia, PA, Camden, New Jersey, et cetera. But these are all inner city neighborhoods where folks, again, look primarily like you and I. We want to come in and be the developer choice where we're not only just building, making our money and leaving, but, like Chris would say, we're building, playing, and staying. We're building a community, right? One house at a time. I coined the phrase "buy the block." I don't really like that, but we want to change the block. Is the dynamic we're looking to unfold in a lot of these communities, and I'm excited, man. I mean, this is going to be a phenomenal thing. That's going to be, to use one of Randy's quotes, generational changer, right? So I think once we put this in place, Wilmington is going to carry over city after city after city. Hopefully, it'll trickle down here to Baltimore and other areas as well. Chris, you want to elaborate further?
Yeah, and I think he hit it. But if you're just speaking strictly from a mission, from a business perspective, I think it's with our tagline, right? Is executing equitable developments every time, right? That's really, really, really important. Execution, because people like us, if you're not executing, you're not performing, you don't get the same opportunity. Just to be quite frank with you, we learned that in sports. That's the way we fought ourselves up. And life is pretty similar, right? They respect the people that can produce. So we spend a lot of time doing that, as well as the equitable part, right? We came together because we're able to listen to the neighborhood. We're at a point in our life now that we can either hire some people in the neighborhood, as well as mentor them to be developers, because unrepresented in this space. So those are really important to us, executing the equitable development. So I think that's really where we're aligned to.
And then if I can add to that, one of the things that that Will touched on is that generational piece. That's something that's very near and dear to my heart. So one of the things that we're really looking to do, we go in, and as Will stated, we're not just looking to come in, build, and get out. So we're looking to change lives and change generations and affect some of those things that, as a people, kind of hinder us along the way. So we're trying to change some of those narratives and be the driver of those changes.
Okay, so I love what you said, generational piece. And if I may ask, where did this mindset between you brothers come from towards building a generational piece for other brown and black communities?
I'll take that because, our backgrounds, right? How we grew up. Everyone you're looking at today does not, as Will told me yesterday, we wasn't born on third base, right? We fought every inch of our way to get up. Like our common bond is like playing football. If without football, I don't know if we'd be sitting on this screen. And unfortunately, that's just reality for a lot of minorities and blacks and whoever you want to put in that bucket. We had one shot like Eminem. We took it, and we took it as far as we could, right? But to get back to what was really getting us for us, like, it's a lot of developers out there. There's a lot of people that's trying to do this, but for us, what makes it really, I think, different is like we're not just trying to go in and drop a development into a neighborhood, right? We're trying to drop anchors into that neighborhood that allow that neighborhood to flourish and grow, right? So it could be all the market indicators and things of that nature. Benchmarks looks good from a financial standpoint, but we really care about what we're doing. And you got to be creative to do that. So those things are really important because that's the way we grew up. Nothing was straight for us. We had to find a way. And I'm pretty sure they have the same sentiment. So I'll let whoever else go.
Yeah, and then so to further that, so our construction arm, the company is LSN. So that legacy was built into the name of the company. So LSN literally stands for Legacy Starts Now. So every day I'm thinking about, the legacy and something to pass down to my children so that they can pass down to their kids. So the big thing for me has always been, my personal goal was always to secure 3 generations. So then I got together with Will and Chris, And it was just interesting that, we all kind of shared that same mindset. So it was like a perfect marriage, and it's been working well ever since.
And I'll just follow up on both of those guys. For me personally, and goes back to a conversation Mike and I had this time last year. I'm again from West Baltimore originally. Someone took the time to help my mom get out of the city, and when we got out of the city, I felt like that impacted my life. To Chris's point earlier, it opened up opportunities for me that I wouldn't have seen had I probably stayed in that neighborhood. And Randy's point further about legacy building, not only do we want to build legacies for our family, but we want to change the familiar dynamics of others so that they can build legacies too. I think that's key, and that's something that's really missing in our communities, right? A long time ago, we were promised 40 acres and a mule. Well, now we're here today to make sure that future generations secure those 40 plus maybe 400 more acres, right? So that's where we're at.
Right on. My next question pertaining to the future in sight. Is any ideas for expansion, more states, maybe more territories and neighborhoods you talk about in mind?
Oh, that's a Will question. That's a Will. Look, Will trying to take over the world. We starting off here in Maryland, but I'll let Will take this. He gets giddy about this stuff.
No, man, definitely. I believe in speaking stuff into existence, and I spoke this relationship into existence. I've been trying to get these two together with me for at least the last 7 years, and that's through like me working at different housing authorities, bringing them together. But to answer your question, yes, we're looking to expand up and down the East Coast. We're going to be doing some work for Dr. Leon Caldwell down in New Bern, North Carolina. We actually have a couple of projects we're working on with him in West Philadelphia and in Baltimore, Maryland, off of Roslyn Avenue. He's had a phenomenal conversation with the executive director of the Atlanta Housing Authority over the weekend. Hopefully, we'll be getting to do some work with them. It was. And Mike, if you remember, I read his book last year, and I was telling you about his book called Housing Humans, right? Reached out to this guy on LinkedIn, and he's like, give me a call. You guys are phenomenal. Let's chat. Chris and I got on the phone with him, and I told Chris before we got on, I said, you know what? We're going to do some work in Atlanta. And he was like, man, we'll see. He always tells me, we'll see. We'll see. And before we hung up, he said, shoot me your emails, and I want you guys to fly down, and let's plan our strategy. So it's coming. It's definitely coming. And maybe Randy want to expound on a couple of things as well. But no, we see ourselves growing exponentially over the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, the only thing I can really add to that is we're being proactive as well. So we're taking the steps to get licensed in all the additional states. So right now we have the process started for pretty much every state except for South Carolina, up and down the East Coast. So that is something that we're absolutely looking to do, because it can't be to go where we're trying to go and help change the dynamic and the narrative. It can't be just one city, right? It has to be something that's widespread, and that's what we intend to do.
Okay. Love that. Personally, also, I can deal with that, starting from the bottom or starting from a certain point, going from there, set an example. And my next question also pertains to that. So with you guys having a certain record and acting on that towards what you guys want to accomplish, whether expansions, whether it's starting right here to aspect of just putting the principle at the large, for the Black and brown community, what's the importance of just having representation for these different kinds of businesses?
Oh, I take that. I would say this from a commercial real estate standpoint, right? So after the football dream was over, I had to, get out there and, find a new life, recreate myself. So I got into real estate, and I lived in 4 or 5 different states. And what I noticed is, when you get into a place, I work for Fortune 500 companies, right? You get in there, the entry levels, you see a lot of minorities, right? A lot of black and brown. No, you go up the ladder a little bit, middle management, room gets a little lighter, and then by God, when you get to senior leadership, it's no minorities around. Like, I've been in several different organizations where I'm the only one. I'm not even that dark. I'm just being honest with you. And I'm like, wow, this can't be the case, though. It happened in every single state I've been in. So it's not, it's a systematic thing, right? So it's hard, right? It's hard. And it's like, when you're walking in there, you always feel like you have to be 10 times better than the people, on the other side of you, and they don't have the same views as you a lot of the time. So it's a lot of struggle. with that. And I'm sure Will have more to say about that. But that's really what gets me. And commercial real estate is it's one of the biggest avenues you can have for generation wealth, right? Well, I mean, you get into this type of real estate, right? This is the stuff they try to keep you out of. There's so many barriers, and that's a big thing we're trying to do. We're trying to, let people see, look, we're human just like you. We're going to go through these struggles, but we're going to get there because we're just that crazy enough to believe that we can do it, right? And we hope that's going to be inspiring to a lot of other people because it's needed. It's just not a lot of us out there, and to change our communities, we need to do the work. Is my opinion on that.
No, I mean, piggyback off of what he's saying, I see it in the rooms right now that I sit in. I'm literally the only one, and it's just it's a common like trend. It's like, well, why is that? You know what I mean? I know I'm not any special than anybody else. I just had opportunities, so we're trying to provide those opportunities to other folks through different avenues, and also as it relates to the development market itself. Everybody we sit down to, I'm getting us on a lot of calls. I'm reaching out there. Everybody I know, LinkedIn world, in my Rolodex, in my back pocket, and to a man and a woman, every time we talk to somebody, they'll say two things that I think really set us apart. One is that they've never seen a collective like this, right? So that puts us to that next level. And two, is to Chris's point earlier, there just aren't a lot of us that can do it because access to capital has always been a barrier. Having the level of acumen to perform the job, like Randy said, has always been a barrier, and having those connections, making those connections, like I'll talk to anybody, I just don't care, but making those connections to get those opportunities are just, they're just not, available to folks on average. So I think, what sets us apart was what's going to also make us dynamic at the same time.
Yeah. So I'll add to that just by saying, one of the things I think that is important, whether it's the development or the construction, is to show the young people that are coming up, that next generation, that look, this is very much possible, right? Because the mindset is always, well, we can't do it because nobody's done it. Well, we're about to prove everybody wrong, and we've already, we have some internal capacity. So now we're going to take that, make that double, triple, quadruple, and just keep building and building, and just show that it can be done.
Okay. That's rock steady right there. I ain't gonna lie. That's real tight. Next question. Towards the ground up for basically for these different sites and executing the plans on basically showing the Black community and also the brown community on what's to be done and necessary opportunities. Is there any figures that inspire you, bring motivation to the table for you growing up or even now?
Of course, for me, it's always going to be Reggie Lewis, right?
I knew you were going to say that.
That's my hero. That's, he wrote a book in the early 1980s called Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? Man, I've read that book about 20 times, and I encourage you as a young man to read it too. He is someone who, I'm looking at Randy here, he used other people's money to make himself the first Black billionaire, right? And he leveraged the heck out of it. Capital stacking to its finest, right, Chris?
Correct. That is correct.
So that's probably my hero, and for me personally, it's going to be my mom. Always going to be my mom. Seeing her struggle and watching her kind of build herself up and pick herself up is what prompted me to want to be successful. And Eugene Jones, I got to throw him out there too. He's been a dynamic executive director all across the country and up into Toronto, and he's always coming with this foresight to do some fantastic things in the community. So.
I don't know. You got something, Randy?
Yeah, so I agree. The Reggie, what's his last name?
Lewis.
Right, Lewis. I agree with him too, but I definitely share the sentiment of my mother because, she taught me at a young age that hustle spirit and just keep grinding. You get knocked down, you get up and you just keep going, right? She had so many stumbling blocks and barriers, but she always found a way to make it work. Now, she wasn't, in the best situation, but she had that mind state to help me change the dynamic of my family to get us in a better situation. And now I just think with each generation that improves. Now, if I can instill something like that in my kids, and then not even just my own family, but to Will's point, other people in our community, now we can definitely make a change. So that's my position on it.
Well, it sounds like we got another common thread because if I had to throw someone out there, it would be my mom as well. Like I said, when you grew up from that same kind of cloth, you can see the similarities. Some of the stories. That's why we're good. Like we don't take anything for granted. Right? We're hungry. We stay hungry all the time, and I think that's important. Um, just from a role model standpoint, I got to be honest. Growing up, I didn't have any. I didn't know where to look at. No one was in my family. I grew up in a country little town in North Carolina. Like it wasn't a lot happening, right? So everything I did, I had to figure it out myself, right? For the most part, that's harder, I think. So really, my life changed and started seeing mentors and things. And when I got to college, that really, was a blessing for me because I didn't even realize, Philadelphia exists when I was a kid. So it's back to that point, being included in certain things. If you don't know, right? You just don't know. You're competing in a world where people have certain things given to them, and you're expected to have the same kind of results, and you have half or less than half of the resources they have. I mean, when I went to California, that was like the wildest time for me because I realized that kids was like in eighth grade or something like that. They had a Chinese instructor. They had all these things. They was already so far advanced than some of the seniors I went to school with. And that's what happens in business, right? You're sitting across from some of those people and you got to be better than them at the end of the day, right? So I just think, you find your lane, you be really good at it, and then, you kind of grow from there. I mean, I hope we become the role model so they don't have to go through some of the stuff I went through growing up.
Gotta have mama. I can't disagree with that. You gotta have mama.
Sound like Tupac is about to be playing when y'all air this.
Hey, ironic, had to
Look at that. Look at that.
Call me out. Perfect time. That was good. 1 second. Sorry, a little technical difficulty real quick. Advance forward. For Black History Month as a whole, we all know that from the strength of our communities, our leaders, from the proudest from our families, have always built up strength by our own selves and with each other. Picking up from you guys' inspirations and also the drive that's kept you guys going this far, what does Black History Month mean to you guys overall?
So for me, it's a moment of kind of reflection and a period of encouragement. Not to say that doesn't continually happen throughout the year, but it seems like, Black History Month, there's a focus on it, right? So we start to see some of the examples of people that have come before us, the pioneers of, the way back in the day that let me know that it's possible because, if you went through what you went through to let me sit here, I have no excuse to not give you my best effort and to help the next man up. So that's really what it does for me, or what it means for me. It's really about encouraging and being an encouragement to others as well.
And I guess for me, it's just really, you hear so many bad stereotypes, right? In the minority community. Like, it's just like the one time a year for me that you've seen all this great information being displayed to the world. I think that's very important. Even myself, when I see someone put something out, I'm like, wow, he did that. Like, it's inspiring to see that because most times, negative energy carries way farther than anything good. So it's good to see that. I'm a visual person, and like you're saying, like even days when we have tough days, like you gotta keep yourself motivated. You gotta find something. And I think Black History Month does a good job of saying, hey, look, you think you have it bad? What about these guys, right? We got no excuse. We got no excuse when you talking about some of these people. Is how I look at it. So that's what it means to me. It's very motivating to see the great things people did with much less, in my opinion.
And just to piggyback off of both of those guys, I would just end it by saying struggle and progress. You know what I mean? It's to see some of the struggles that our forefathers and mothers went through, and to Randy's point, how they overcame those struggles, and knowing that it's possible, right? We none of us, to coin Chris's phrase earlier, grew up on third base. I wasn't even in the damn game. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible, and you appreciate their struggles because they got you to where you are today. All of us here, including yourself, young man. I mean, it's really important to know your history, to know where you come from, because if you know where you come from, you're going to know where you're going. So I think that's what it means to me.
You talking to the wrong person, Will, because this brother, he probably got some books for you to read.
Hey, bring them on. I love it, man. I love it.
Boy, trade for trade. I don't know everything, but don't get out of here outside.
Will got a nice little selection, I must say.
Brothers, just to end it out with any final thoughts, anything that if you were to watch another brother or sister come up to the panel right now, looking for guidance, any final thoughts on the table?
I would say, for me, and this is something my mom said. Look, we talked about our mama, so I got to throw it out there. She told me at an early age, surround yourself with what you call OQP, only quality people, because you're only as good as those around you. And I've taken the liberty of surrounding myself with 3 fine gentlemen that are on this call with me right now, and yourself as a 4th. And I think, by having those sort of connections, it only brings out the best in you. So OQP, only quality people, never stop learning and never give up on yourself.
Yeah, I agree. So the biggest thing that I would say is, always believe in yourself. And what I always say, I'm always going to bet on myself, right? So if nobody else believes in you, you have to believe in yourself. And the things that you say you want to happen in your life, you have to believe that those things are going to happen. You got to speak them into existence, and you just go get it. It's nobody's giving you anything. There's no, easy path to any of this. But if you want it, there is a path to go get it.
Yeah, I will follow up that. I'm getting better at speaking it to existence. They're teaching me that. I'm learning from them daily. But I would say,
Hey, he's a hard sell. Don't let
Oh man, I'm just an executor, man. I like that. I'm like the SEAL Team 7 when we go in there. But what I was going to say is, when I growing up, when you don't have anything, it's almost like it's a dream. You're dreaming all the time, right? And I used to say all the time, I used to be like, man, with any luck, Mom, this will happen for me. With any luck, this will happen to me. And one day, my uncle heard it, and he was like, well, why don't you create your own luck? How about that, right? And it just dawned on me. I'm like, what do you mean create your own luck, right? Now, I didn't even know that was a phrase, but I don't think he knew it. But it was just, it's your mindset. I think your mindset is like the most important thing you can have, right? If you believe you can do it, you're at least 90% there, right? And, we got a lot of challenges, we face every day. But if you really say, I'm going to get there and nothing's going to stop me, if you get the right people behind you, that's very motivating. And so for me, I always tell myself, create your own luck. I wake up, I'm like, all right, create your own luck today, Chris. Nobody's going to give it to you, to like Randy's point.
Yeah, but I appreciate you, brothers. I do have a lot to learn. Still going out the gate. Mr. Brown hypes me up, but again, at the end of the day, it's a lot to trade for trade. Take consideration. I wish you guys all the love and luck, because again, I'll be watching for y'all.
We'll be doing the same for you.
Same to you, man. And if you ever need anything, you got a great mentor. But if you need a couple more, surrounding yourself, just please feel free to reach out. Mike has our contact information. Happy to touch base anytime.
I would love to, sir. Would love to.
Gentlemen, this was phenomenal, man. Tim, fabulous job. Gentlemen, Randy, Chris, Will. I'm blessed to be in you guys' presence. I think you guys are doing something that like not many other people in America are doing. And I talk about it all the time, but I mean it. I mean, people that have billions of dollars don't have the mindset and the willpower and the want to do what you brothers are doing. So it means a lot when you see brothers like yourself doing what you're doing, and you may have others that have billions of dollars and they're not even thinking about doing what you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. And that means a lot. So where you guys are going to go, you guys are going to go as far as you collectively want to. So if it's Will wants to tackle the whole world, get ready, brothers. You might as well go ahead and buckle up your safety belts now, because 5 years from now, we're going to be having a talk. Listen, I just want to make sure that I still will be able to get an interview five years from now.
Absolutely.
And so we don't switch up on me, make sure I can still be like, who are you talking about? Like, I don't know. Because you brothers are headed in the right direction, man. So I humbly thank you guys for taking your time out, and appreciate you guys, honestly.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Mike.
Thanks for having us.
No problem, man.